Three.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Sharice Donaldson. We're student volunteers working with ODPEM to share disaster safety information. Today, we will present a simple crisis management plan for natural disasters. This is to help you understand risk and what to do before, during, and after a disaster to keep yourself and your family safe. Thank you for having us in your community meeting. Our group members are Ardette Carty, myself, Sharice Donaldson, Shauna K. Ferguson Cohen, Olivia Morgan, Peter Gale Sterling, and Jessica Wright. So to start us off, here's an icebreaker.
Every year I see him think no hurricane now come. Every time they say hurricane come and none, make me buy up much things, spend much money, buy up much bread and tissue and no hurricane now come. No hurricane now come, me sure this year I don't buy a thing. If you want to come, me come, me know say none now come, because every year they say hurricane now come and I know none can come. Say, Andrew carry hurricane come here? I him go see, me convince you Andrew. Andrew carry hurricane come here? Me tin things. Me buy up my sardine, buy up my tin mackerel. Me buy up all of my tin things them and my snacks them. And you know, say Tyler don't have to all I snacks them come to think of it. Right now, about 6 bread me buy and 1 big July aisle. And all of them something they hope so they can serve me. But me see Zyla eat off the whole I snack. Zyla!
So let's just hope Zyla hasn't eaten off all the snacks. And some of us would have responded this way to a hurricane that is coming. So our first presenter is coming to us, Olivia Morgan. Over to you.
Let me explain about our crisis. Now, this is a structured guide that helps organizations and communities respond to emergencies by protecting lives, reducing damage, and coordinating resources before, during, and after a disaster. The purpose and objective of this plan is to strengthen disaster preparedness and prevention, to support fast and coordinated emergency responses, to protect lives and reduce economic losses, restore essential services quickly, and improve communications between agencies and the public. Now for preparedness, building a community and institutional readiness through education, training, and resources mobilization before a disaster occurs. In response, we reduce vulnerability by coordinating timely, life-saving actions such as evacuation, sheltering, and emergency healthcare. For recovery, we will try to restore critical services, including utilities and healthcare facilities, to normal operations as quickly as possible. Communication strengthens information flow among communities, agencies, and first responders during all disaster phases. I'll now hand over to Shauna K, who will explain our risk analysis of natural disasters.
Thank you, Olivia. Jamaica is highly exposed to natural disaster due to its location. These risks shaped how all communities and institutions must prepare for disaster. Major hazard affecting Jamaica. Hurricane caused the greatest long-term damage to home, roads, and utilities. Flooding is frequent and can be severe, especially in low-lying coastal and communities. These risks required strong disaster planning and early preparation. Earthquake risk. Jamaica lies near the Equilium Plantation Garden Flat Zone, increasing earthquake risk. Urban areas are vulnerable due to its population and aging building. Strong monitoring and public education reduce earthquake impact. I'll now hand over to our next presenter, Jessica Wright.
Hi, everybody. All right, we will now look at the response protocols. And all natural disasters each need specific response strategies, as well as emergency support may face many hazards during response efforts. With the role of the ODPEM, it coordinates Jamaica's national disaster response and issues public warning and evacuation messages. It also mobilizes emergency resources and supports parish disaster committees. And last but not least, it maintains communication with regional and international partners to strengthen readiness. With the regulations and standards, national frameworks guide disasters coordination and emergency response, as well as workplace safety laws require training and emergency planning, and also local parish plans and strengthens community disaster readiness. With the pre-disaster readiness phase, communities prepare by holding awareness sessions as well as identifying safe shelters for vulnerable groups, and drains are cleared, trees near power lines are trimmed, and communication systems are set up. Also, families and agencies stock essential supplies to prepare for emergencies. During the disaster, the Emergency Operations Center coordinates decision and responses during the disaster. Real-time updates are shared through communication channels and community representatives. And also first responders focus on evacuation, medical care, and protecting vulnerable groups. Post the disaster, this is the recovery phase. We conduct rapid damage and needs assessments. We distribute relief items, provide first aid and psychological counseling, rebuild damage for infrastructure and restore utilities, and also support families and institutions to return to normalcy. I will now hand over to Cherise, who will dive a little bit in the chain of command.
Thank you, Jessica. So in Jamaica, disaster management follows a clear structure. At the national level, Jamaica's disaster management program is managed by the National Disaster Committee, NDC, and its 6 subcommittees. This committee is led by the Prime Minister of Jamaica, who is responsible for making the big decisions, such as releasing emergency funds and directing national agencies like JDF, JCF, and the Fire Brigade. Now, the next level is the National Disaster Executive, NDE. This body includes key cabinet members, heads of essential services like health, utilities, and communication, and voluntary agencies such as Red Cross, and they ensure that coordination among national response is effective. So at this level sits the Office of Disaster Preparedness and Emergency Management, ODPEM. And you would have heard of the role of ODPEM that was done by my teammate Jessica not too long ago. So ODPEM coordinates with international partners, example CDMA, and the UN agencies Red Cross in order to mobilize national emergency responses such as food equipment shelters, and also providing technical support and guidance to parish disaster committees. So the next level is the parish level. At the parish level, there is the Parish Disaster Committee, PDC, and the Regional Emergency Operation Centers, REOCS. They open shelters, guide evacuation plans, and keep ODPEM updated. Now we have gotten to the community level. This is your level. At this level, the Community Emergency Response Team, CERT, they are members that are trained community volunteers who act as first responders before national help arrives. So they assist with early warnings, first aid, evacuation, and shelter management. They work alongside social workers, church, NGOs, and residents also play an important role. Yes, youth. How do you play an important role? By checking on your neighbors, the elderly, the vulnerable community, helping clean debris from your drains, and sharing accurate information so that recovery happens faster. So after disaster, one important thing that you need to know is that the chain of command can be changed, whether temporarily or permanently, such as the case of recent Hurricane Melissa, where the ODPEM was temporarily shifted to the Prime Minister's office And this was done to increase operational efficiency. There was also a body that was established, and this body is the NRRA, which is the National Reconstruction Resilient Authority, which is to lead island rebuilding and recovery efforts. So this committee will report as well directly to the office of the Prime Minister. I'll hand over to my next team member, Ode.
Thank you, Cherise. We're going to touch base on the psychological triage, which refers to the rapid prioritization of mental health needs following a disaster, which ensures that those that are at greater risk of harm receive immediate support. Then we're going to move on to the assessment of needs, where emotional needs of affected persons are assessed, also providing calming support through clear, accurate information, also monitor for acute stress, PTSD, and grief. Move along to the psychological impact of disasters. This is where people may experience strong emotions like fear, grief, or anger. Also, stress can show up physically like headaches, trouble sleeping, or feeling restless. Some may even relive the event through vivid memories or avoid reminders altogether. Relationships also are affected, which can feel strained, or survivor may even struggle with guilt. Moving on to the long-term psychological effects. So depression and substance abuse can develop as people struggle to cope with loss and stress. Displacement also and financial hardship can slow emotional recovery. This is where we get help. So building psychological resilience, 1, share assuring information. 2, lean on family, friend, and neighbor for support. 3, practice simple calming techniques. 4, reduce exposure to distressing news. All right, so trauma-informed decision making. This is where building resilience means talking openly about feelings, supporting one another, and preparing as community for future events. We'll now move on to our next speaker. We'll touch base with intervention framework, Ms. Peter Gay Sterling.
Thank you, Audit.
You're
So
welcome.
support must respect confidential. I'm so sorry. Disaster intervention follows an organized process that focuses on safety, stabilization, problem solving, action, and follow-up. It helps survivors understand their emotions, recognize strengths, and set practical coping goals. The immediate response, which is between 0 to 72 hours. Psychological first aid is used in the first 3 days to reduce shock and confusion by providing calm support and meeting urgent needs. Short-term crisis work, days to weeks. Counseling helps survivors understand their emotions, build on their strengths, and good. And counseling helps survivors understand their emotions, build on their strengths, and set practical coping goals. Community integration and support. Recovery improves when community life is restored and support groups help rebuild normalcy. Clinical escalation and referral. Severe distress is referred for clinical care using the World Health Organization emergency mental health guidelines, like someone with panic attacks after an earthquake. Ethical and safety considerations. Support must respect confidentiality, consent, and cultural values, with private conversations held even in crowded shelters. Capacity building and staff support. Responders need emotional support and regular training to prevent burnout, with ODPEM and the Ministry of Health and Wellness training shelter teams before hurricane season to keep operations smooth. And lastly, monitoring and follow-up. Follow-up checks confirm that survivors are coping, completing recovery steps, and accessing services so they can return to their daily lives. And now we will just end this presentation with a video, which
vehicle are being lifted across.
Right now, nobody can cross it. It's only who can understand it. Cross it. Nobody can cross it. It's only fisherman and a fisherwoman. Just say, nobody can cross it. It's only who can manage the water. It's only so them come over. Or if we around to help them. Nobody can swim. If you cannot swim, you cannot cross it. Nobody can cross it. If we around to hit them over. Fisherman can cross it, and a fisherwoman cross it. Cannot swim? Trust me.
You're going to St. Thomas.
These are our references. Thank you for listening today.